Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Let us chant one round of japa with Srila Prabhupada. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयं मुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेष्वभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवत्युत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। श्रीमद् भगवद गीता एज इट इज की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। समवेत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। Hare Krishna, dear devotees, welcome to today's Srimad Bhagavatam for all session. Let us recite Bhagavad Gita Shloka. We are reciting from Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 12, text 10. Yeah. So if anyone needs to go first, please raise your hand. Yes, Aditi Lata Mataji and Arunita.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Please accept my humble obeisances, Mataji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
अभ्यासेऽपि असमर्थोऽसि
Abhyasepya samarthosi
मत्कर्मा परमा भव मदर्थम् अपि कर्माणि कुर्वन् सिद्धिम् अवाप्स्यसि. If you cannot practice the regulations of Bhakti Yoga, then just try to work for me, because by working for me, you will come to the perfect stage. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Arunita.
Abhasyepi ansya matusi matkarma paramo bhava madhartam api karmani kuruvan samhitam apyapasye
Avapsyasi.
vapyasi. Translation. If you cannot practice the regulations of Bhakti Yoga, then just try to work for me, because by working for me, you will come to the perfect stage. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Priyanka Haripriya Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. Jai Shri
Please accept my humble obeisances, Mataji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Abhyase api asmatosi matkarma paramo bhava madartam api karmani kurvan siddhim avapsasi. If you cannot practice the regulations of Bhakti Yoga, then just try to work for me, because by working for me, you will come to the perfect stage.
Osha Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranams, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to the assembled devotees.
Dandavat Pranam Mataji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Abhyasepi asamarthosi matkarma paramo bhava madartam api karmani kurvan siddhim avapsyasi. If you cannot practice the regulations of Bhakti Yoga, then just try to work for me, because by working for me, you will come to the perfect stage. Medha will also read.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Abhyasi
Abhyasepya samarthosi
Abhyasipyasamartosi matkarma paramo bhava mad artham api karmani kurvan siddhim avapyasi. Avapsyasi. Translation. If you cannot practice the regulations of Bhakti Yoga, then just try to work for me, because by working for me, you will come to the perfect stage.
Yes. Okay. Anyone else? We'll go in order now. Inba and Inya. Achintyadev Prabhu is not there, right?
No, Mataji, he is out of station.
Oh, okay. Inba.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Abhyasepi samartosmi matkarma paramo bhava madartam api karmani kurvan siddhim avapsyasi. Translation. If you cannot practice the regulations of Bhakti Yoga, then just try to work for me, because by working for me, you will come to the perfect stage. Thank you,
Yes.
Mataji.
Thank you. Inya.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Abhyaseऽप्यसमर्थोऽसि मत्कर्म परमो भव मदर्थमपि कर्माणि कुर्वन् सिद्धिम् अवाप्स्यसि. If you cannot practice the regulations of Bhakti Yoga, then just try to work for me, because by working for me, you will come to the perfect stage.
Yes.
Hare
Jai
Krishna
Shri
Mataji. Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
अभ्यासेऽपि असमर्थोऽसि मत्कर्म परमो भव मदर्थम् अपि कर्माणि कुर्वन् सिद्धिम् अवाप्स्यसि. Translation. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. If you cannot practice the regulations of Bhakti Yoga, then just try to work for me, because by working for me, you will come to the perfect stage.
Thank you.
Mataji, Mataji, my mom is not here.
Okay. Later.
Yes, Mataji.
Okay. Isha.
अभ्यासेऽप्य समर्थोऽसि मत्कर्म परमो भव मदर्थम् अपि कर्माणि कुर्वन् सिद्धिम् अवाप्स्यसि. If you not practice the regulations of Bhakti Yoga, then just try to work for me. Because by working for me, you will come to the perfect stage.
Krishna Shish is there. Madhava.
अभ्यासमर्थोऽसि मत्कर्म परमो भव मदर्थमपि कर्माणि कुर्वन् सिद्धिम् अवाप्स्यसि. If you don't practice the regulations of Bhakti Yoga, then just try to work for me. Because by working for me, you will come to the perfect state.
Rasapriya. Abhyasepya samarthosi.
अभ्यासेऽप्य समर्थोऽसि मत्कर्म परमो भव मदर्थम् अपि कर्माणि कुर्वन् सिद्धिम् अवाप्स्यसि. If you cannot practice the regulations of Bhakti Yoga, then just try to work for me. Because by working for me, you will come to the perfect state.
Yes. Next is Narsimalila Chaitanya. No, actually Lokesh. Sorry.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Dandavat pranam Jai Shri Prabhupada Jai Guru Maharaj.
Dandavat pranam Mataji. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
अभ्यासेऽप्य समर्थोऽसि मत्कर्म परमो भव मदर्थम् अपि कर्माणि कुर्वन् सिद्धिम् अवाप्स्यसि. If you cannot practice the regulations of Bhakti Yoga, then just try to work for me, because by working for me, you will come to the perfect stage. Thank you, Mataji. Lokesh is not available.
Okay. Yes, Suvarnangi Shama Mataji, Narsimalila Chaitan Prabhu, Suraj Purti.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat pranam, Sarva Srila Prabhupada.
Dandavat pranam Mataji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
अभ्यासेऽप्य समर्थोऽसि मत्कर्म परमो भव मदर्थम् अपि कर्माणि कुर्वन् सिद्धिम् अवाप्स्यसि. Translation. If you cannot practice the regulations of Bhakti Yoga, then just try to work for me. Because by working for me, you will come to the perfect stage.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat pranam, Sarva Srila Prabhupada.
Dandavat pranam Prabhuji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
अभ्यासेऽपि अस्मर्थोऽसि मत्कर्म परमो भव मदर्थमपि कर्माणि कुर्वन् सिद्धिम् अवाप्स्यसि. Avapsyasi. Translation by His Divine Mercy, Srila Prabhupada. If you cannot practice the regulations of Bhakti Yoga, then just try to work for me, because by working for me, you will come to the perfect stage. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
अभ्यासेऽपि असमर्थोऽसि मत्कर्म परमो भव मदर्थम् अपि कर्माणि कुर्वन् सिद्धिम् अवाप्स्यसि.
Translation.
If you cannot practice the regulations of Bhakti Yoga, then just try to work for me, because by working for me, you will come to the perfect stage. Mataji,
She's not there. Okay. Did everyone recite? Krishna Shish is here? No. So I'll recite. Bhagavad Gita chapter 12, text 10. Abhyasepya samarthosi matkarma paramo bhava madartam api karmani kurvan siddhim avapsyasi. If you cannot work for me, if you cannot follow the regulations of Bhakti Yoga, then just try to work for me, because by working for me, you will come to the perfect stage. If you cannot practice. Okay, so we will begin reading Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 9, Chapter 18. King Yayati regains his youth. Isn't that the title? Yes, King Yayati regains his youth. So what did we read so far? We read that Sharmishta, Devyani put the condition that Sharmishta should go as a servant, as Devyani's servant, along with all of Sharmishta's girlfriends. They should all go with Devyani as a servant whenever she got married to somebody, to whoever she got married to. So now she was getting married to King Yayati. So Sharmishta was also married to King Yayati, but with the condition that he will never let Sharmishta come on his bed, nor will he go on her bed. So then she got married and they went, and soon Devyani had a son. Seeing this, Sharmishta approached King Yayati, her husband, and requested him that she also wanted a child. And King Yayati contemplated about what is dharma in that situation, and he decided that he must give Sharmishta children. That was dharma. Because she didn't have anyone else. He was her husband. And every woman would like to have a son, would like to have a child. So he begot 3 sons in Sharmishta, whereas Devyani had 2 sons. What were the names of Devyani's sons? Yadu, Turvasu. And the sons of Sharmishta were
Druhyu, Anu, and Puru.
Very good. Druhyu, Anu, and Puru. They were the sons of Sharmishta. So now Devyani found out from other sources that the sons of Sharmishta were actually from Devyani's husband Yayati. So she was frenzied with anger and she left home to go to her father's place. And her husband, Devyani's husband, King Yayati, tried to appease her by speaking sweet words. He held her hand, requesting her not to go. He even massaged her feet to try to pacify her, to appease her. But she would not be pleased. She just left and went anyway. And she went to her father and she complained. Who's her father? Shukracharya. So she went to Shukracharya and complained to him, Sharmishta has 3 sons from my husband, so on and so forth. So now Shukracharya got all angry and he cursed King Yayati. What was the curse? To lose his youth. Yes. To become old. Yes. Invalid. And that's what happened immediately, instantly. His skin got all wrinkled. He was trembling with old age. And then Yayati said to Shukracharya, "Oh, you have cursed me to become old, but I'm not yet satisfied enjoying with your daughter. My lusty desires are not yet satisfied." And then it dawned upon Shukracharya that actually, so King Yayati told Shukracharya that of course my lusty desires are not satisfied, but even your daughter is the one who's going to suffer by this curse. She'll be young and her husband is so old. So then Shukracharya thought, that's right. Even my daughter must have a desire to enjoy with her husband, but she won't be able to because her husband is so old. What did I do? So then he told Yayati, if somebody is able to exchange his youth with you, then I will do the rest. I will make the arrangement that your old age, I will transfer your old age to that person and that person's youth to you. So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada said, he was actually indicating that King Yayati should ask one of his sons to give to give his youth to his father Yayati. So I don't know if we already read that King Yayati asked. Did we read? Oh, he asked King Yadu, right? Okay, let's see. Yes, 37. King Yayati said, O learned worshipable Brahmana, I have not yet satisfied my lusty desires with your daughter. Shukracharya then replied, you may exchange your old age with someone who will agree to transfer his youth to you. 38. When Yayati received this benediction from Shukracharya, he requested his eldest son. Who's the eldest son? Yadu. My dear son Yadu, please give me your youth in exchange for my old age and invalidity. And why? 39. My dear son, I am not yet satisfied in my sexual desires. But if you are so kind to me, you can take the old age given by your maternal grandfather. So, who gave me this old age? Your grandfather, your mother's father. You can take the old age given to me by your mother's father. And I may take your youth so that I may enjoy life for a few years more. So, did Srila Prabhupada give a purport to that verse? Yes. Yes, we discussed that. So, this is the nature of lusty desires, Srila Prabhupada said. I mean, the father is shamelessly asking his son to exchange the son's youth for the father's old age. Why? So that he can enjoy he can fulfill his sexual desires. For that, he's saying, you give me your youth. So why is he asking like this? Because this is the nature of lusty desires. Kamais taistair hritagyana. When one is too attracted to sense gratification, he loses all his intelligence. Discrimination of what is right and what is wrong, what is to be done and what is not to be done. When one is too attached to sense gratification, he loses his sense, or he loses his, as you would say, common sense. He loses his intelligence. Hrita jnana. His intelligence or his knowledge is stolen by what? By lusty desires. So therefore, here the king is saying, King Yayati is saying that my lusty desires are not satisfied. That means I'm still hankering for sense gratification. So by this, he lost his intelligence. And therefore, he's shamelessly asking his son. He didn't consider, I have at least enjoyed I have enjoyed my life, but this is my son who's just starting, right? Wouldn't he have any desires? If I'm asking his youth, that means he's going to suffer old age. But this is the nature of, lusty desires. One loses his intelligence, one loses his sense of discrimination. So he's shamelessly asking his son to exchange youth for old age. And then, of course, Srila Prabhupada said this entire world is under such illusion. Everyone is crazy, pramattaha, exclusively mad. Nunam pramattaha kurute vikarma. When one is almost like a madman, he indulges in sex and sense gratification. Yes. So who is the person who's too much attached to sense gratification? One who has gone mad, right? He indulges in sex and sense gratification. Or in other words, if you see someone too attached to sense gratification sex, you should understand he is like a madman. But if somebody has this problem, is it a final thing or can it be rectified? Yes, it can be controlled. It can be controlled. How? Only when one is fully Krishna conscious. So there we read Yamunacharya's shloka where he says, after tasting the various mellows of transcendental loving service to Krishna, then when I think of sex pleasure, it is so distasteful that, there is something called reflex action. Reflex action means you don't even, right, the message doesn't, even before it reaches your nervous system or your brain, right, instantly there's a response right away at the sense level before the message is brought. Generally what happens is, uh, when your senses come in touch with the sense objects, you know what happens? It's not that immediately the senses are enjoying the sense objects. There's a mechanism going on there. Let's say your eyes are coming in contact with the object, right? So you can't see this because of my back. Okay. No. What can you see? Okay. So when my senses come in touch with the sense object, I'm looking at this, right? What happens is when my eyes come in touch with the sense object, right? What happens is this sense object, there's a vritti, it is called a vritti, which is created in my mind, right? It's like you take a picture, right? With a camera, like that. There's a vritti of the object. So this exact whatever this object is looking like, exactly like this, it is created in the mind. And then the spirit soul is actually not even the spirit soul actually. Uh, the senses only. So you have external senses and then you have the internal sense. External sense is this fleshy eyes, right? Charma chakshu it is called. But the actual senses are subtle. They are there in your subtle body. Antahakarana has your senses also. Anyway, so then the senses are, what are they enjoying? The senses are enjoying that object through the vritti that is formed in the mind. What I'm trying to say is, first the message is sent to the mind, and then you will realize what it is. And actually, further after that, also something happens. So, first, the mind says, what the mind does is, as soon as the senses come in touch with sense object, the message is sent to the mind about that sense object. And then the mind will, in the very first fraction, when the senses come in touch with the sense object, in the very first fraction, the mind gets the message, kinchidasti, something is there. But the details are not yet known, what it is and what is the history, whether you have experienced in the past or nothing. Just kinchidasti, something is there. From there, the message is sent to intelligence. And intelligence is the one which stores all your samskaras. Samskaras means whatever, if you have experienced it before, it is there already in your mind, stored, I mean, in your subtle body, it is stored somewhere in the intelligence. So now the intelligence discriminates. It gives exactly, it determines what this object is, right? It determines, yes, this is a case for glasses, like that. It's blue in color. So it determines it. And then it is sent to the false ego, the message. So what does the false ego do? The false ego tells, I like this, or I need this, or I don't need it, or I don't like it. That is false ego's business, whether I want it or I don't want it, whether you are repulsive or not, or you are attracted. Again, why it is false ego? Because actually when you say I'm not going to see, I have nothing to do with matter because I'm a spirit soul. But false ego means I'm thinking that I'm this body. Even if you take some food item like a laddu or something, right? So the procedure is the same. Laddu is the sense object and my tongue is the sense. So you want, right? So, or when you look at it, let's say first you look at it before you eat, and then the message is sent to the mind. In the mind, the vritti of laddu is formed, right? So that is later. The vritti is formed later. First fraction of second is, oh, something is there. And then it goes to the intelligence. And intelligence says, oh, this is laddu. You have eaten it before. And you know it's like this. And then the false ego says, I like laddu. I want laddu now. I want to eat it now. Right? So then the desire is coming. But I want it now. Who wants it? Does the spirit soul eat laddu? No, because laddu is matter. Spirit does not eat matter. It is the body that's going to eat, right? It's going to be the senses. But because of false ego, the soul is thinking, I will eat that laddu. So anyway, why I went into this discussion, I was saying that certain actions, even before they go to the mind, like instantly, like there's a hot tawa, right? You make rotis on hot tawa. Let's say accidentally you touched it. Even before the message goes somewhere, your instant reaction is you just pull your hand away, isn't it? Before you can understand whether it is tawa or not or whatever, that much analysis is not done. As soon as your hand touches something extremely hot, you just pull your hand away, right? So why was I saying that? What is the connection with what we were reading in the purport? So this Yamunacharya is saying that now I'm relishing so many various tastes in Krishna consciousness that even that thought of sex pleasure, sense gratification, which once upon a time I used to enjoy, I used to relish. But now, because I'm getting a higher taste, so many varieties of pleasure in Krishna consciousness, even if by chance my mind thinks of that sex pleasure instantly, like a reflex action, without any analysis, just automatically my lips curl in distaste, right? And I spit at the thought, right? I don't like it anymore. So the point is, the whole world is mad with this desire for sense gratification, and the only way to overcome this desire is to become fully Krishna conscious. Example, Yamunacharya. What he used to enjoy so much once upon a time, after becoming Krishna conscious, it doesn't taste good at all. He's completely disgusted with that. So what is the context here? King Yayati is asking his son, can you please exchange your youth with me so that I can enjoy some more time? Yes, Mataji, Swarnani Mataji.
Mataji, when you were describing Yamunacharya's pastime, I was remembering Ramanujacharya's pastime as well, Mataji. Like he had the devotee Dhanurjay. So
Dhanurdhar, yeah.
Dhanurdhar, yes. So he was so attracted to his wife's eyes, and he used to even walk backwards holding the umbrella for his wife without even looking like around. You know, he was so attracted just to look. So once, like when Ramanujacharya was passing on with his sikshas, he asked like disciples, he asked the disciple, what is he doing? So he's so fond of his wife and he's so attracted to his wife's eyes, that desire. So he never even takes away his eyes away from his wife's eyes. So then, oh, that is a very good quality. So like bring him to me. So his disciples were like, you asking him to what quality he has? Why are you asking him to bring? They were so like in question. Then disciples approached him and they were like, Ramanujacharya wants to meet me. And then he went. Danudar went and he was like, why are you so attracted to your wife? Ramanujacharya asked, why are you so attracted to your wife's eyes? So he was like, it's so beautiful. No other eyes can be such beautiful other than my wife's. So then then we will have a deal. Like I'll show you something. So that time he was like, that's impossible. You cannot show me anything more beautiful than my wife's eyes. He won't believe, Dhananjay. And then he asked him to come next day early in the morning. So, how can someone be beautiful when they get up from sleep? Dhanurdhar asked that question, Ramacharya. Like when they get up from sleep, it will be so, the eyes will be so, it'll not be very beautiful to see that scene. So then Ramanujacharya, you just come, I will show you something, that's all. So then Dhanurdhar comes and they take him to the temple and he shows like Ranganatha Swami's eyes. So Dhanurdhar at one instant, he just changes his whole way of thinking and then he's so attracted to Lord Rangnath's eyes. And since then, he becomes a very, very devoted disciple. And after that, Ramanujacharya's favorite disciple was Dhanurdhar. He takes him everywhere. So I was just thinking about that wisdom. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, thank you. Very nice, Mataji. Yes. So just one little detail there is they were not yet married then. He was very much attracted to her beauty, her eyes, and then actually Ramanujacharya got them married. But yes, so somebody who's so attracted to material beauty, same person when he came in touch with the Lord's beauty, then that attraction was gone. So yes, very nice, Mati. Thank you. Okay, so we'll read now the next verse. Whose turn is it now? Do you remember anyone? Yesterday we didn't do. Day before
Hare Krishna
yesterday.
Mataji. It was our turn, Mataji. If it's okay, if we can read.
Yeah, I think Nilambari Radha Mataji was the last person to read, but I think your turn was skipped, so you will read, right? I think.
Yes, Mataji. That's all.
Yes, Mataji.
Okay. So yes, Mataji. Sri Yadur Uvacha Notsahe Jarasa Sthatum Antara Praptaya Tava Aviditva Sukham Gramyam Vaitrishnam Naiti Purushaha. Usha Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Yadu replied, my dear father, you've already achieved old age, although you also were a young man. But I do not welcome your old age in invalidity, for unless one enjoys material happiness, one cannot attain renunciation.
Okay, purport, Mataji.
Renunciation of material enjoyment is the ultimate goal of human life. Therefore, Varnashrama institution is most scientific. It aims at giving one the facility to return home back to Godhead, which one cannot do without completely renouncing all connections with the material world. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Nishkinchansya
Nishkinchanasya Bhagavad Bhajanonmukhasya.
One who wants to go back home, back to Godhead, must be Niskinchana, free from all affinity for material enjoyment. Brahmani Samashraya. Unless one is fully renounced, one cannot engage in devotional service or stay in Brahman. Devotional service is rendered on the Brahman platform. Therefore, unless one attains the Brahman platform or spiritual platform, one cannot engage in devotional service. Or, in other words, a person engaged in devotional service is already on the Brahman platform. Thank you.
Yeah.
You want me to read?
Next person can read. Yes, thank you, Rata. I think Suvarnangi Mataji and family, you didn't read, right? Did you?
No, Mataji.
Okay. So you can read. Mamchayo Vyabhichari.
मां चेयो व्यभिचारेण भक्तियोगेन सेवते सगुणान् समतीत्यातान् ब्रह्मभूयाय कल्पते.
One who engages in full devotional service, who does not fall down in any circumstances, at once transcends the modes of material nature, and thus comes to the level of Brahman. Bhagavad Gita 14.26. If one attains devotional service, therefore he is certainly liberated. Generally, unless one enjoys material happiness, one cannot attain
renunciation.
Varnashrama therefore gives the opportunity for gradual elevation. Yadu, the son of Maharaj Yayati, explained that he was unable to give up his youth, for he wanted to use it to attain the renounced order of in the future.
Yes. Next person, Hare Krishna.
Maharaj Yadu was different from his brothers. As stated in the next verse, Turvashus Choditaha Pitra Duryush Chanuscha Bharata Pratyachakyur Dharmajnaha. Maharaja Yadu's brothers refused to accept their father's proposal because they were not completely aware of Dharma. To accept orders that follow religious principles, especially the orders of one's father, is very important. Therefore, when the brothers of Maharaj Yadu refused their father's order, this was certainly religious. Maharaja Yadu's refusal, however, was religious. As stated in the 10th canto, Yadoscha Dharma Shilasya Maharaj Yadu was completely aware of the principles of religion. The ultimate principle of religion is to engage oneself in devotional service to the Lord. Maharaja Yadu was very eager to engage himself in Lord's service, but there was an impediment. During youth, the material desire to enjoy the material senses is certainly present. And unless one fully satisfies these lusty desires in youth, there is a chance of one's being disturbed in rendering the service to the Lord. We have actually seen that many sannyasis who accept sannyasa prematurely, not having satisfied their material desires, fall down because they are disturbed. Therefore, the general process is to go through the grihastha life and vanaprastha life, and then finally come to the sannyasa and devote oneself completely to the service of the Lord. Maharaja Yadu was ready to accept his father's order and exchange youth for old age because he was confident that the youth taken by his father would be returned. But because this exchange would delay his complete engagement in devotional service, he did not want to accept his father's old age.
Yeah.
For he was eager to achieve freedom from disturbances. Moreover, among the descendants of Yadu would be Lord Krishna. Mataji, you want me to stop or
yeah? Is Surya going to read?
Yes,
Mataji.
Mataji. Definitely.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Therefore, because Yadu was eager to see the Lord's appearance in his dynasty as soon as possible, Yadu refused to accept his father's proposal. That was not irreligious, however, because Yadu's purpose was to serve the Lord. Because Yadu was a faithful servant of the Lord, Lord Krishna appeared in his dynasty. As confirmed in the prayers of Kunti, Yadav Priya
Yasyan Bhavaye.
Vyasyan Vyavaye. Yadu was very dear to Krishna, who was therefore eager to descend in Yadu's dynasty. In conclusion, Maharaj Yadu should not be considered adharmagya, in ignorant of the religious principles, as the next verse designates his brothers. He was like four Sankas, Chatursana, who refused the order of their father, Brahma, for the sake of a better cause, because the four Kumaras wanted to engage themselves completely in the service of the Lord as brahmacharis. The refusal to obey their father's order was not irreligious.
Yes, thank you. So, when King Yayati asked Yadu, the eldest son, if the son is kind enough to exchange his youth with his father's old age, then the father could enjoy his life for some more time. So in answer to that, Yadu replied, "But my dear father, you have already achieved old age, although you also were a young man." Okay, so you have been a young man and now you're already in old age. Okay, my dear father, you were a young man at one point, and now you are already old. That you are old now. It's not that you will be old. You are already old. But in my case, I'm not yet old. I'm young. And I do not welcome old age and invalidity, especially invalidity. Invalidity means you're not capable of doing anything. As a result of old age, now your body is not even functioning. It's not able to do what you are able to do as a young man, you cannot do as an old man, right? Let's say you could do Govardhan Parikrama on foot as a young person. And if you're not trained, if you're not practiced, when you become old, if you're asked to do, you won't be able to do it. Of course, if somebody is doing it every day, then even when they're old, because the body is tuned in, they'll continue to do. But otherwise, normally, those who are not practiced and they haven't done it when they were young, now all of a sudden in old age, if you ask them to do, will they be able to do it? No. So the body becomes invalid. You cannot do things which you were able to do in youth. Those you cannot do in old age. So what is Yadu saying? That I'm still young and I'm not able to welcome old age and invalidity. For unless one enjoys material happiness, one cannot attain renunciation. So what is Yadu saying here? So that is why we need Acharya's commentaries to understand what is being said, right? What Sukadev Goswami is saying, to understand that. Otherwise, what does it sound like? Father said, "Give me your youth," and son is saying, "No, I won't give you. I'm not ready to give you because I feel that you should enjoy in your youth, so that after you have enjoyed, then you're able to renounce it later on. So I'm not going to give you." That's what the shloka sounds like. But what does it actually mean? Can you find fault with uh, with Yadu that he is disobedient to his father? Can you find fault with him like that? No. This is something like the Kumaras disobeying Lord Brahma. Lord Brahma said, I want, because Lord Brahma is a Prajapati, his function is to fill up the universe with good population. So he is producing children and asking them to become Prajapatis to assist him in his service. So he asked, first he produced the 4 Kumaras and he said, now you become Prajapatis, you get married and you produce children. They said, no, we will not do it. We are not interested in getting marriage. In fact, we won't even grow old. We will remain small children where we don't even wear clothes. So small that we don't even wear clothes. Why? So that we don't get into this, it's only when you grow up, you become a youth, when you get all these thoughts, right? Attraction for the opposite sex and everything happens. But when you're small children, these things are not there. We don't want to be entangled in all this, right? So the point is they disobeyed the father. So do you condemn the Kumaras for disobeying their father? No. Why? Because that was for a higher purpose, for a spiritual cause, right? So when you disobey an authority for a higher purpose, then there is no offense there. There's no sin there. About guru disciple also it is said. Actually, normally, Guru Ravagya, the third offense to the holy name, is to disobey the spiritual master. But there's one situation where you can disobey the spiritual master and it won't be considered an offense. You know which one? The Guru tells you to do something and you can say, no, I won't do it. And even if you said no, still it won't be considered an offense. Yes, Inya.
When the Guru says something against bhakti.
Achha, like that. Okay, of course, that is there
like
too.
Bali Maharaj.
Shukracharya, yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Sonia Mataji.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glory to Srila Prabhupada. Yes,
Please
Mataji.
accept my humble obeisances, Mataji. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Yeah.
Yeah, it is the same that
Inya said. Yeah. If the Guru tells you to do something against Krishna consciousness, then you can say no. Example is Bali Maharaj. Okay. Is there any other example also? Oh? No. Okay. All right. Saujanya Mataji.
Same thing, Mataji, against dharma. It's the same thing, but just that word came to me.
Yes, Mataji. Thank you. So all of you are saying the same thing. But he did. That's what I was thinking. So normally I was asking you if the spiritual master is also a devotee. He's a devotee. So he's not asking you to do anything against against Krishna consciousness. Still, there is one thing which the spiritual master may ask you.
I know the answer, Mataji.
Okay.
We can say that I won't marry.
Yes, that's what it is. So that's the only time where, like, if the spiritual master says, get married, and the disciple can say, of course, with proper respect, but my dear Guru Maharaj, no, I don't want to get married. If he says that, there is no offense. Other than that, like Priyavrat Maharaj, but Priyavrat Maharaj actually did finally, right? His father said, that's true. At first, the father said, and he would not marry. But then his father went and got help from higher authorities, and then yes, he Narad Muni especially, they agreed. Then Priyavrat Maharaj eventually actually obliged and he got married. But yeah, so that's the only time when the spiritual master tells you and you can disobey and then still there is no offense. So, but here we are seeing, of course, this is not Guru, this is not spiritual master. father is saying. So in the case of Kumaras, Lord Brahma said to the 4 Kumaras, you same thing, right? Marry. Then also he said, you get married. They said, no, we don't want to get married. So there is no offense there. And here King Yadu was asked by his father, Yayati, King Yayati, to exchange youth. And Yayati, King Yadu said, no, but why? That's so nicely Srila Prabhupada is explaining in the purport. Let's read the purport again. We'll go over the purport. So Yadu replied, my dear father, you have already achieved old age, although you also were a young man. But I do not welcome your old age and invalid. I don't want your old age. For unless one enjoys material happiness, one cannot attain renunciation. That means the goal of Yadu, King Yadu, is he wants to be renounced from all material happiness, material enjoyment. He wants to become renounced. That's his goal. But his understanding is unless one enjoys material happiness, one cannot attain renunciation. So now, without allowing me to enjoy material happiness, if you give me your old age, without me going through youth and material enjoyment, then I would not be able to renounce because I would still have those desires. Okay? Unless one enjoys material happiness, one cannot attain renunciation. So in purport, Srila Prabhupada is saying, renunciation of material enjoyment is the ultimate goal of human life. Yes. That is why we have in the Varnashram system, Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha and Sannyas. Right? So Grihastha ashram, only in Grihastha ashram there is some license for enjoyment. Otherwise the remaining 3 ashrams are strict. There's no enjoyment. Brahmacharya, Vanaprastha and Sannyas. No enjoyment. Only in the Grihastha. And Grihastha ashram only forms 25% of the whole life. 75% you're supposed to be austere. No sense gratification, absolutely. And even within the Grihastha ashram, that sense gratification is regulated and it is meant. So the Grihastha ashram, when you say ashram, that means where the goal is spiritual progress. As soon as you say ashram means the goal of that lifestyle is spiritual progress. It's not sense gratification. Goal is not sense gratification and comfortable life. No. That is Griha Medhi. But Grihastha means you live with wife, husband, children together, but the goal is together we all want to make progress in spiritual life, in devotional life. This is Grihastha ashram. Nevertheless, in that Grihastha ashram, some sense gratification is permitted. But that Grihastha ashram is also only 25%. And after Grihastha ashram again, renunciation. Gradually. Vanaprastha first and then sannyas completely. So this tells us that the goal of life is ultimately to be renounced completely from sense gratification. Now if somebody is able to give up sense gratification altogether, it happens many times. Devotees are, we see in Bhagavad Gita, the 6th chapter, right? Somebody who has practiced yoga in previous life for a long time and then for some reason he could not get perfection in that yoga and he had to give up his body. And in next life he directly takes birth in a family of transcendentalists. Right? He takes birth in a family of transcendentalists. And then without even seeking for these yogic principles, he naturally becomes attracted to yoga. Once again, he just connects wherever he left off from his previous life. It's not that first he has to be given training and this. No, he has all the samskaras in him already. Even as a small child, he has no interest in material sense gratification. Now, for such a person who has that type of samskara, do you say, no, you should first undergo sense gratification, only then your renunciation will be perfected? So, do you force such a person to go through sense gratification? Should you do that? No. No. That is why Guru is required, because Guru can understand what is the position of the disciple, what is his level of advancement in spiritual life, and he will guide the disciple accordingly. So to some disciples he may recommend you get married, and to other disciples he may say you don't get entangled in marriage, just take to brahmacharya, because he has those type of samskaras. But in general, that is the case of those who are yogis in the past, or those who have already started their devotional life in the past. They they have you know they have no attraction to material sense gratification, and the Guru guides them like that. But in general, in the varnashram system is so designed that even if you start off, you have these samskaras for sense gratification, in varnashram system, step by step, you're walked through, right? You're given training and you're walked through, so that towards the end of your life, you give up all attachment. So when you enter into Grihastha ashram, there is, association with the opposite sex, right? There is material opulence, everything is there. But then you are trained, you know ahead of time. By the time I'm 50, I must start leaving everything. So we see examples again and again in Srimad Bhagavatam. You see Yudhishthir Maharaj, right? All kings, practically all kings, you name any king in Bhagavatam that you read, where after 50, by the time they reach 50, they're actually concerned, now it's my time to leave and focus on my spiritual life. I have to take vanaprastha. And if they don't have a qualified heir to take over after them, it's a great concern to the king. Not that, oh, nobody else is there, so I might as well stay back and rule now what to do. Right? No, they are really desperate to give the responsibility to somebody else, and they should go to the next stage. They should renounce everything. So, the goal of life is to renounce all material sense enjoyment. Of course, that's not the ultimate goal. Ultimate goal is to get love of Godhead. But in order to get that, first of all, you have to, without completing your first grade, you want to go to 12th grade or 10th grade. How? Right? You have to finish your first grade, second, third, fourth, like that. So first you overcome your material attachments. Of course, if you take to Bhakti Yoga directly, again, as soon as I say Bhakti Yoga, you should understand I'm talking about Shuddha Bhakti. Shuddha Bhakti. Then what happens? You don't have to separately try to overcome your material attachments and all that. Bhakti, so if you simply have faith in Bhakti, full faith, Purna Shraddha, then that Bhakti is like fire, right? It is so powerful that all other material desires, everything will be burnt up by the power of that Bhakti. Bhakti is capable of giving you everything, removing your material desires, giving you knowledge, right? Giving you detachment, everything will come simply by doing Bhakti. So that is if you do bhakti, that if you're taking to the path of bhakti directly. But otherwise, in general, the varnashram system is meant for every person. Varnashram system is for everyone, the whole society, all people in the entire world. Varnashram system is for everyone, for human beings, of course, for human beings. That means by following the Varnashram system, everyone, wherever he may be in his level of consciousness, he can be elevated and brought to the spiritual platform by following the Varnashram system. So here in this purport, the point is that, okay, I'll just read. Renunciation of material enjoyment is the ultimate goal of human life. Therefore, the Varnashram institution is most scientific. It aims at giving one the facility to return home back to Godhead, which one cannot do without completely renouncing all connections with the material world. Yes, right? It's not that on one hand I'll be holding on to my material attachments in this world, and on the other hand I'm also thinking that I'm going back to Godhead in this life. How can we think like that? How can we think like that? You see, even when you see these small caterpillars that walk on leaves, right? Uh, when they put their foot on the next leaf, they have to let go the previous, their foot on the previous leaf. That's when they'll go to the next leaf. Can you stay on the new leaf and old leaf at the same time and still move? How? It's not possible. You have to let go. So if we are holding on to our attachments in this world, how can we expect that we will go to the spiritual world? We'll go back to Godhead. If I want to go back to Godhead, I must give up the attachments in this world. At least I should know that I must give up, right? Yeah, I may not be able to give it up. That's not within my capacity. But I should know that this is what I should do. In order to go there, I must give up everything here. Everything here is not just physical also, but main thing is the attachment in the heart. Of course, detachment will come. If you do Ananya Bhakti means Anyabhilashita Shunyam, Jnana Karmadya Navritam, Anukulyena Krishnanushilanam. Anukulyena Krishnanushilanam means favorably doing devotional service to Krishna continuously. Continuously doing devotional service means what? Shravanam, Kirtanam, etc. Constantly doing Shravanam, Kirtanam for Krishna's pleasure. This is Anukulyena Krishnanushilanam. And without any material motivation, not that I'm constantly chanting and I also have this motivation that I may get, more money, or I may get a better job, or I may get, this or that or whatever else. Or not even that, oh, by doing this I'll get liberation, right? Constantly chanting Krishna's name for Krishna's pleasure, but expecting that at the end I'll get liberation by doing this, I'll be free from all these material miseries. If I'm thinking like that, that does not qualify as pure devotional service either. And it's not over. Also, this my continuous devotional service should not be covered. What do you mean should not be covered? It should not be interrupted by any jnana or karma. That means there should not be any spots where your devotional service of Shravanam Kirtanam is stopped. Continuous line, no breaks, right? So this is Ananya Bhakti. So if somebody is doing Ananya Bhakti like this, then yeah, all your other, you don't have to worry about anything else, right? Your material attachments are removed, everything is done. You don't have to separately endeavor for that. Let me see. Yeah. Varnashram system gives one the facility to return home, which one cannot do without completely renouncing all connections. Yeah. So you don't have to endeavor separately to renounce anything here. You see, the Gyanis are actually trying to renounce. They start with Nishkama Karma Yoga. That means they work and then we don't want the result. Because if I take the result, it's going to bind me to this world. So they have to actually practice renunciation. They have to practice renunciation. But in bhakti, all you have to practice is Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. You simply practice to do Shravanam Kirtanam 24 hours a day without expecting anything in return. No material desires, no desire for liberation. And this chanting should not be interrupted. Chanting, I'm saying, but chanting you do, or reading, or worshipping the Lord, Navada Bhakti, or there are other limbs of Bhakti also. But continuously your consciousness is you want to serve Krishna. If you're doing like that, you don't have to cultivate renunciation separately. No need. Why? Because renunciation will come automatically as a byproduct of your bhakti. Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojitaha Janayatyashu Vairagyam Jnanam Chayad Ahaitukam. Isn't it? Jnanam and Vairagyam, they come naturally as side products, byproducts of bhakti. But if you're not doing this type of bhakti yet, then if you follow the Varnashram institution, Varnashram system, the whole system is geared in such a way that by following that system, you come to the stage of renouncing all connections with the material world completely. So we will discuss this purport again tomorrow because it's already 6:28. I will just bookmark it here, and we can discuss it again tomorrow. Let's read Srila Prabhupada's, let's read Bhagavad Gita and Srila Prabhupada's Leelamrita. And did everyone read today, Suvarnangi Mataji, or did Narsimhalila Chaitanya Prabhu also read?
No, Mataji. We'll read tomorrow.
Okay, so Prabhuji will read tomorrow.
Yes.
And then Neelambari Mataji read already. Priyanka Mataji, did you also read yesterday?
No, Mataji. I will read tomorrow.
You will read tomorrow. Okay. So Narsimhalila Prabhu and then Priyanka Mataji, like that. Okay. I bookmarked it already, I think. Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 1, text 19. Please repeat. Saghosho dharta rashtraṇam hridayani vyadarayat nabhascha prithivim chaiva tumulobhyanunadayan. The blowing of these different conch shells became uproarious, vibrating both in the sky and on the earth. It shattered the hearts of the sons of Dhritarashtra. The blowing of these different conch shells became uproarious, vibrating both in the sky and on the earth. It shattered the hearts of the sons of Dhritarashtra. If you remember, first of all, we read that by hearing Duryodhan in his diplomatic way, but it was obvious the fear that he was experiencing seeing the Pandavas' army, and in his diplomacy of trying to prepare Dronacharya just in case Bhishma Dev, because he's Ubhaya Pakshapati. So you be ready because you don't know, because he's also we won't be victorious because he's also wanting the well-being of the enemy. How can we win with Bhishma Dev like that? But at the same time, again, he's saying all of you should protect Bhishma Dev because as long as he's there, we won't lose the battle. Because just as he desires the welfare of the opposite party, he also desires the welfare of his party, all of us. So he will not let us get defeat either. So all of you should protect. So when Bhishma Dev heard all this, he blew his conch shell right loudly like a lion to give joy to Duryodhan. When Bhishma Dev blew his conch shell, everyone else started blowing. So obviously on the side of the Kauravas, everyone blew their conch shells. And the sound was so loud that it was heard both, in the sky and on the earth, like that. That's all. That's all is said. Then, when Bhishma Dev blew the conch, he's the senior most member. That means it is uh, announcing the beginning of war, challenging the enemy, that now we are going to start fighting. So then on the other side, first of all, Lord Krishna, Arjun blew their transcendental conches, and then we heard a list of names. Yudhishthir Maharaj, Bhimsen, Yudhishthir Maharaj, Nakul, Sahadev, so many other warriors on the Pandava side. Everyone blew their conches. What was the result of the conches blown by the Pandavas side? It shattered the hearts of Duryodhan's soldiers. We didn't hear anything like that. That when Duryodhan blew the conch or the Kauravas blew their conches, then the hearts of the Pandavas soldiers were shattered. We didn't hear. But when all the Pandavas warriors blew their conch shells, including Krishna and Arjun, then the soldiers on the Kaurava side, their hearts were shattered, it is said. So let's read the purport. Yeah. Vibrating both in the sky and on the earth, it shattered the hearts of the sons of Dhritarashtra. Purport. When Bhishma and the others on the side of Duryodhan blew their respective conch shells, there was no heart breaking on the part of the Pandavas. Such occurrences are not mentioned. But in this particular verse, it is mentioned that the hearts of the sons of Dhritarashtra were shattered by the sounds vibrated by the Pandavas' party. This is due to the Pandavas and their confidence in Lord Krishna. One who takes shelter of the Supreme Lord has nothing to fear, even in the midst of the greatest calamity. That is the point. Right? So, you see, the Kauravas' army was almost double that of the Pandavas. The Kauravas had 11 Akshauhinis and the Pandavas had only 7 Akshauhinis. But still, because they had Krishna on their side, they were confident. They were confident. And even though they were small in number, when they blew their conches, it shattered the hearts of the Kaurava soldiers. So, this is the confidence of a devotee. So, now we'll read Srila Prabhupada's Leelamrita. So, we were reading up until now about this Bill, right? Bill and Harvey. Now another person. So how gradually one by one they're coming to Srila Prabhupada. James Green, a 30-year-old carpentry teacher at Cooper Union, was delving into Eastern philosophy. He lived on the same block as the Paradox and began hearing about the Swami from Harvey Cohen and Bill Epstein while regularly taking his evening meal at the restaurant. James, it was really Harvey and Bill who got things going. I remember one evening at Mishra's, in which Swamiji was only a presence but did not speak. Mishra's students seemed more into the bodily aspect of yoga. This seemed to be one of Swamiji's complaints. His room on 72nd Street was quite small. He was living in a fairly narrow room with a door at the one end. Swamiji would set himself up along one side, and we were rather closely packed. It may have been no more than 8 feet wide, and it was rather dim. He sat on his thin mattress, and then we sat on the floor. We wouldn't chant, we would just come and he would lecture. There was no direction other than the lecture on the Bhagavad Gita. I had read a lot of literature, and in my own shy way, I was looking for a master, I think. I have no aggression in me or go getting quality. I was really just a listener, and this seemed right, hearing the Bhagavad Gita, so I kept coming. It just seemed as if things would grow from there. More and more people began coming. Then it got crowded, and he had to find another place. The new group from the Paradox was young and hip, in contrast to the older, more conservative, uptown people who had been attending Prabhupada's classes. In those days, it was still unusual to see a person with long hair and a beard, and when such people started coming to the Swami's meetings on the west side, some of the older people were alarmed. As one of them noted, Swami Bhaktivedanta began to pick up another kind of people. He picked them up at the Bowery or some attics, and they came with funny hats and grey blankets wrapped around themselves, and they startled me. So the next person will be David Allen. We will read about him tomorrow. We will end here. Thank you all so much. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. All of you have a wonderful day in Krishna consciousness. We'll see each other tomorrow.